questions over Figma's intentions with their interface generator, and a dog, a HomePod, and a fire. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by 1Password. More than just a password manager, now with extended access management. Find out more at onepassword.com/product/XAM. We're starting to run a little short on time, so I'm going to cut out a couple articles. But I definitely thought this is worth talking about because we've talked about Figma in the past. They had a tool that is supposed to be AI generating that is supposed to help generate interfaces for apps. And so it promptly copied Apple's weather app for someone who was designing a weather app of its own. And from my understanding of this, it ended up copying it multiple times. In other words, they tried to iterate on it, and it just kept coming back with this. And so Figma said, oops, we apparently didn't train this, or we didn't have the controls in place properly, so they've shut that part down. And we're waiting to see what reappears. Is this, I don't even know who to ask on the panel, so I'll just throw it out. Is this a situation where there's just such a rush that people are just dying to get out there and not be left behind completely?
Of course. But at the same time, this is still so new. And a lot of these tools that are available publicly today, they're so new, they should probably still be considered alpha level products, not even beta. And there's a lot of learning on the part of the tool creators that's happening. And so something like this, where you say, "Hey, help me write a weather app," and it just gives you Apple's weather app. Stuff like that's going to happen. And as the technology matures, then we will see fewer problems like this happen. And so Figma did the right thing by shutting the feature off, because it's clearly not working as it should. It should not be recreating someone's app and saying, "Here you go, here's your code, here's your brand new app."
Yeah. Marty?
So again, AI, I think we look at it and we see it in the bubble that it is. But these kinds of design mistakes happen without AI generated sort of programs. So this app looks like that app. This song sounds like this song. We've been doing it as meat puppets, as analog, without the use of AI for years. So you're going to stumble across these mistakes. AI has its own level of risks, but I don't think we're insulated from accidentally coming up with an idea or a design that someone else has come up with. I think, Figma did the right thing in pulling back on it and reevaluating.
Eric?
I'm pretty amazed. Figma did the right thing. They built a fraudulent product. This should never have seen the light of day. It was designed to work this way. And
you're caught.
They thought they'd get away with it, just like these Tua people somehow.
And it's different from multiple designers coming up with similar products, because you could get somebody that doesn't know what they're doing at all, ask for a product solution, and being handed back basically a complete clone of somebody else's product without them necessarily having the skill sets to do it themselves, or recognizing it as a clone and figuring it's okay because this company produced it. So it's fraudulent to the person asking for help, as well as for the original people who produced the source material that the model is based off of.
With my devil's advocate hat on, just to stir everyone up. So if I'm designing a clock app and I ask Figma, this Figma interface design, to give me a clock interface. There are only so many ways you can make a clock interface, and there definitely are. I mean, if that's an interface that hasn't been explored to death, then I don't know what is. So it's almost inevitable that it's going to come up with something like that. Now, a weather app, is a little more sophisticated. Still, there are probably a limited number of things that a limited number of data points that you're going to want to address. But so I'm not quite ready to damn them the way Jim indicated. But on the other hand, it seems like if it just happened to copy Apple's weather app multiple times, that does seem like a failure in training of some kind. Am I out of line with
Apparently,
that thinking?
they just trained it on Apple's weather app, full stop. Like, that's the only thing they showed it. I'm not sure it even really is an AI.
Oh, I don't know if we want to go that far, because then you're talking just about flat out theft. I'm not prepared to say Figma would do that. They don't seem like that kind of organization.
Well, that's what was reported in the developer social media circles. I'm not saying that the management it sounds to me like somebody put something together at a lower level, and then the management didn't really understand that, so it seems like, sort of a cluster F, but not necessarily that management was intentionally like, we're going to do it this way. It was, we're in a big rush, so ship it. With management not really realizing what the thing, that it really wasn't anything that, should be sold.
Fair point. Mark?
Yeah, I would interject here that, I think it's unfortunate this happened, but you think about the magnitude of the task they're doing. How are they going to possibly QA absolutely everything? So, I think we need to give them a little bit of slack there. To the extent that maybe they didn't train it on enough data, maybe they deserve a wrist slap. But I think the key thing here is something happened, created a furor, the developer responded, and they're moving forward. So let's not lose sight of that.
Yeah, I would echo that. And if it happens again on a music app or some other app, then you start to have to ask questions. But
they responded by completely shutting the whole thing down. And it's been quite a while, and it's not like we tweaked it and here it is again. Who knows? We'll have to see. But by all appearances, it's like this was something that should never have been released, and they have removed it from release. So yeah, that's good. But you just have to wonder, what kind of process internally got them to putting this out publicly in the first place.
Jim, though, I can pretty easily conjure up a scenario where they got caught by this, they're embarrassed by it, and now they've pulled it back and are saying, hey, we're going to look a lot more carefully at everything. And my scenario would be that some junior person decided to do a shortcut so he could get out of work early on Friday, and just decided to train it on just one app. And of course, you're going to train it on one of the better apps out there. And so they got caught. And now they come back and say, oh, maybe we better check all of Jim's work and everybody else's work to make sure that nobody else left early on Friday by cutting corners.
But again, I'd say,
right. That's plausible. That's a huge failure of management. If
listen, if with this many people on something this sophisticated, it's a failure. But I'm not sure I'm ready to completely condemn them based on one failure.
Again,
I don't know what completely condemn means. I'm just, I'm not saying they should go out of business, but I certainly don't. People are like lauding them here and saying, "Wow, Figma's great." No, I don't think, this is the opposite of great.
Yeah.
But again, we shouldn't speculate on what happened. There's all sorts of scenarios that we could create, and I'm certain that any scenarios that we create are going to be wrong. So let's just stick to the facts. Something happened. It's unfortunate. They're taking corrective action. Withdrawing it, maybe they realized, maybe it shocked them. Oh my God, we got blindsided. We have this, this horrible, problem on our hands, perhaps, and I'm speculating, but let's cut them some slack and see what happens in the future.
Yeah. Jeff?
All right. So I've been sitting here quietly thinking about Jim's argument, and it's actually really compelling. And Jim, what you're saying, I think you're really nailing a lot of the problem with your argument. And that said, I'm glad that that Figma did what in this circumstance I would consider the right thing, which is pull the thing. Should they have launched it in the first place? I don't know, but it's raising questions for me, and so thank you for broadening my horizons there. And it brings back questions that I have had about the pace of the public-facing generative AI market. Is this moving too fast? And yes, I get that technology goes fast and it goes faster every year, but is this moving too fast? Do we have companies that are making decisions without the information that they really need to have because that information doesn't exist yet? And so does this mean that it's okay for Figma to release a tool that that rips off someone else's product and then pull it after that's discovered? Are these companies ethically collecting the information that they're using to train their models? And I know I open a huge can of worms when I say that, but I think this is actually something that these companies should be talking about more, and they should be talking about it very openly and transparently, because we take it back to the beginning of the show. Everyone is flipping table. I was flipping tables. Ben was flipping tables over the whole Tuwa thing. And it seems in that situation, the content was not ethically collected.
Mm-hmm.
Is Figma ethically collecting the information they're using? Do they have the rights and permissions for the information they're collecting? Are other generative AI platforms ethically collecting their information? Do they have authorization for that? And right now, we see a lot of people saying, well, it's just out there and it's open and it's okay. Microsoft, their AI boss, said, hey, it's all freeware because it's on the web. And I would disagree with that. And other people are saying, look, the laws haven't been really worked through for this yet, but it seems that just because content is on the web doesn't mean that that you can just scrape it and use it to train your model. You are now violating copyrights and other potential ownership issues. So, yeah, it's easy
And
for us to play
Apple's
devil's
weather app
advocate.
is not on the web.
No, it is not. So
But there are screenshots of it on the web.
Yeah. So was I couldn't read the whole piece because it's paywalled. Did Figma just recreate the interface, the same interface over and over, or did it actually generate a full app?
No, interface. That's what
the interface.
That's what this software is supposed to do, is create interfaces, not build all the guts under it.
Okay. So still.
Yeah, but it appears that they basically tore apart the package, the app. I don't think they even went off of, even assuming that there were screenshots. It seems like they actually, because you can go into an app and download the IPA, and it's just files and folders, and you could take it off of your phone with something like Amazing, and get at it, and it appears that that's what they did.
If that's what they did, as someone who has played an attorney on stage, I would say that is straight up intellectual property theft.
Agreed. If to go back to what Mark said, we're doing speculation here, but yeah, if that's the case, then
I don't think we are, because then it built this app that had other people went and they took the Apple Weather app and said, oh look, it's got the same components inside. How could that be some mistake? That's like I took this box of spare parts and shook it, and it it made a Tesla exactly. And all the
Jim,
parts are the same.
Maybe I misread the article, but I didn't read this as the app was duplicated.
Well, I'm not sure if that article said that, but that's from stuff I saw on Mastodon and whatnot, appeared to me that that's what was going on.
I'd want to source that out, because if that's the case, yes, if someone has gone deeper than this article did, absolutely, then we are potentially talking about intellectual property theft. But if it's just the interface that got copied, or generated,
you notice you don't see, Figma didn't defend this at all. They immediately went, "Whoops, my bad."
Yeah, but look, which one of us hasn't done a whoops?
And it's been a while, and there is not like, oh yeah, little tweak, and here we go again. It's like, oh yeah, that we didn't mean to do that.
Well, when it comes back on, we'll see, who comes back with it. MacVoices is supported by 1Password. More than just a password manager, now with extended access management. Find out more at onepassword.com/product/XAM. You already know 1Password. You trust 1Password with all of the passwords to all of your services, including your social media, your bank account, your brokerage account, and your medical provider's account. Here's some great news. 1Password has a new product to help you secure your business too. 1Password Extended Access Management is here. 1Password Extended Access Management is the first security solution that brings all of your unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected, every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. It makes certain that every sign-in for every app on every device is secure. That means that all of those outliers who have been doing their own thing from a security standpoint can be reined in and your business made even more secure. It's security for the way we work today, and it's available now to companies with Okta and coming later this year to Google Workspace and Microsoft Entra. Check it out at onepassword.com/product/XAM. That's onepassword.com/product/XAM. Thanks to 1Password for supporting MacVoices. I want to wrap up with one last story, because it's a sort of a positive one.
Good luck with that.
Well, that a family credits HomePod with alerting them to a kitchen fire started by their dog. And if
that's a resourceful dog.
Well,
HomePod Mini.
A hungry dog.
Well, apparently the dog got curious about the oven and turned the oven on accidentally, and there were boxes sitting on top of the oven. Now,
this is in Colorado Springs. Of course it's in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, farther down the article says at the home of Jeff Gamet. Oh no, never mind. No, but it does. The thing I like about the article, not just the fact that the HomePod alerted the family, is that they tell you how to turn on sound recognition for your HomePod 2 or HomePod Mini. This is something that it has that capability, And so if your dog turns the oven on at 4 a.m, you can be alerted too, or just get rid of the dog.
Yeah.
Or don't put boxes on top of your
You're going to get
cooktop.
letters,
Don't
Jeff.
leave it.
You'll
Don't
get letters.
Right.
You need to.
It specifically says don't blame the dog in the article. I just
Yeah.
want to point that out.
You need to get deeper into this article. It's really, the jokes just write themselves. And there's lots of questions about what really happened and what didn't happen if you go through it. But it was actually the dog that went into the bedroom and alerted the owners. The woof is on fire. And frankly, I looked at the video because we have a clip of the video of the dog doing, I don't know how they got it. Must have been a home security camera, but yeah, first putting stuff on your stovetop, putting boxes on your stovetop. Come on. I sorry, who does that? But if the dog can get up there and turn the burner on, I think it's just a couple of obedience classes away from actually cooking for us, which would be a definite benefit. Just to send the dog to a culinary school and see what happens.
Puppy, fettuccine Alfredo, please.
Okay, well, if the show wasn't off the rails before, it is now, boy. It is now. I don't know what to say about tonight. I mean, it's. I think we're feeling a bit of outrage at the Tuwa thing. Some of the hacking stories.
As promised.
Fireworks. Thanks, Jim. Yeah.
There's sure fireworks.
It is just. I guess it's life in the 21st century, and we just have to do our best to protect ourselves. But James, we have talked about this a lot, that we're so sensitive to some of these things. Do you feel like? I mean, you're a different age group than pretty much everybody here, except maybe Ben. I mean, do you think that we're too focused on some of this and we're feeling too threatened, or is it just we're the bellwether and we're trying to warn everyone else that this could be them?
Hey, that's a good question. I think in a way, I would actually go with the later, with the bellwether. I think for me, actually, I know it's going to put me on the spot a little bit, but I looked at the Have I Been Pwned website, for example, and didn't know that quite existed. So I found out that one of my email addresses had been part of a security breach, but not the other one. So it's probably better to be more alert as to what is going on with some of these concerns, and especially with AI. I think it's going to become, if it isn't already a big deal, it's going to become bigger ordeal over time, because it's going to be putting a lot of questions in terms of what type of content people put out there, and if that's real content or is that stolen content, what are the boundaries for that, and that's going to definitely raise a lot of questions, and it's probably better to be cognizant of these type of things. So I don't think it's overblown at all. I think it's probably good to be more attentive on that, and for me it's actually definitely just like, thank you so much for having me, because it does expose me to so much that's going on. Because for me, it's overarching. It's just AI. It's like, oh, there's AI images, there's AI articles, but actually dive in and be like, look, there's what's allegedly little theft going on with articles, things such as what they're doing with authors, things such as doing what they're currently could do with even just the software with the apps. Just being exposed to that is definitely very important to find that, hey, these are things that happen, because it's very important to find where the boundaries are, and probably to find the boundaries, not just let it kind of go off the chain as it kind of seems to be doing right now. Yeah, it just feels kind of like it's off the rails a little bit, and it definitely needs a little bit more boundaries in place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. Thank you for that perspective, because sometimes I think we do get a little too close to the picture, and it's nice to hear that maybe we're not as alarmist as sometimes we feel like. We're just stating some facts, and maybe if we can just get a couple people to pay attention, our job is done. I think I'm going to give Cletus in the chat room the last word tonight. He said, I had a cat turn on the stove one night. Did the cat get cooked, or did he just hot foot, or what? Let us know.
Yes. Did the kitty cook you a meal?
Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah.
Yes.
Mark's bringing his stove turner on her. Well, let's go around the room, let folks know where they can find you, and then we're going to get out of here and head to Macstock, or at least some of us are. I'm going to flip it around, and this time I'll start with Web Bixby. He was last in. We're going to make him first out. Web, thanks for being here. I'll see you in a few days. Where can folks connect with you?
Well, let's go to my little cheat sheet here. And this week you'll find, how about you find me on the Facebook? Just Web Bixby at Facebook.
Whoa, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a man who's on every social media out there.
And I use none of them.
You're a wise man.
Thank you, Webb. Jeff Gamet, I will see you as well in just a few days. Where can folks connect with you? Hopefully your blood pressure will be down by then.
Oh, it'll be down by then. Well, maybe it'll be down by then. Who knows what's going to happen between now and Macstock? Yeah. I'm super excited to see you at Macstock, Chuck, and everyone else that's going to be there. It's seriously, this is like therapy for me, because I get to hang out with so many awesome people that I really, really like. So when I'm not daydreaming about how wonderful it is to hang out with all of you on social media, I'm Jay Gamet, and I'm active mostly on Mastodon and Instagram, a little bit on Threads. Then for shows, here we go. Here with you on Tuesdays on MacVoices Live. Thank you for that, Chuck. And then Dave lets me join in on In Touch with iOS on Thursdays. So thank you for that, Dave. Then on the British Tech Network, the Big Show on Thursdays, the Mac Show on Fridays. Brian Chaffin and I do the Context Machine. And now Patrice Brendamore and I have started a new show called Retro Rewatch, where she rewatches shows that I should have seen but never did, and I watch them for the first time, and then we talk about it.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Ben Roethig, I doubt your blood pressure will be down anytime soon. Where can folks connect with you just to see what happens?
Okay. You can find me on the social medias at Ben Roethig. You can find my writings and possibly soon ravings at my website, roethigtech.com. On Thursdays, at least most Thursdays, except for this week, it's going to be an in-person show, and I ain't going to be in person. You can find me on In Touch with iOS with Mr. Dave Ginsburg. On Thursday and Fridays, hopefully this week, you can find me on the Big and Mac Show, on the British Tech Network. And then every Tuesday, somehow Chuck Joyner keeps letting me on MacVoices Live.
You're always welcome, Ben. Thanks so much. Eric Bolden, I hope you'll be bringing some of the seeds from your unknown flower there with you to Macstock. Maybe I should be worried about it. What's the best way
that'd be illegal in Illinois.
Yeah, well.
I'll bring little tiny pots, and it'll have a label Seymour on the side. Don't worry about it. But if you're singing later, run.
Feed me, Eric.
Eric will be doing at Kelly's karaoke that she's doing Saturday night, powered by his seed. Where can folks connect with you, Eric?
Let's see. This week I can be reached at EA Bolden on Spoutable. The rest of the time at EA Bolden on Mastodon at techhub.social. And then, of course, Pure Tuesdays and Vision Profiles podcast with Marty on Mondays.
Great. Thank you so much. Mr. Fuccio, thank you so much for being here, for your wisdom, and also for the amazing backgrounds. Where can folks connect with you?
is X at Mark Fuccio, MarkFuccio, or LinkedIn, through that same name.
Great. Thanks so much for being here. Jim Ray, always good to see you. We're sorry you won't be joining us at MacStock, but maybe next year. But until then, where can folks
maybe
find
next
you?
year?
Yeah.
Actually, I spent some time in the last week on Spoutable also. ProView Jim, ProVue JIM there, and mostly I'm on Mastodon. ProView Jim at techhub.social.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Marty Jencius, I'm sorry you are going to have to rewrite your whole AI presentation after tonight's show. But you have a couple
I'm going to
days.
turn it into a dread and don't do it, and it's horrible presentation. Just to kind of, work with the crowd. You can find me at Jencius at mastodon.social, also at Jencius, that's JENCIUS on Twitter. Here on Tuesdays with MacVoices, Thursdays with In Touch with iOS, and then I do 3 shows, one with Eric, Vision Profiles, and also a couple of other shows. You can find information on that through thepodtalk.net. Eric and I are going to try and cut a live show at MacStock. So hope we'll have some folks to show up. And we're also going to have our Vision Pro headsets with us for people to play with if they want to delve a little deeper into them.
Cool. Thank you. That's exciting. I didn't know. I knew there was a talk of a get-together. I didn't know you were going to do a live show, so that's great. James, thank you for coming back and putting up with us. If you don't mind being associated with us, where can folks connect with you?
I want to say thank you again, Chuck and everyone, for having me be a part of Talk today. You could find me on X and on Instagram at Just Simply James. If you want to see random photos of my cats, that's where you go, is at Just Simply James. Thank you again.
Do your cats turn on your stove?
Not yet. One of them does know how to open up doors and fridges, and actually I have video of him actually figuring out how to get to drawers and take weights out of them and things like that. So there's a lot of funky things they've done, but the sad part is they do turn on the stove. They're not going to make me food. They're not going to alert me at all. So I hope to have one of those HomePods in the house to make sure I'm alive. So
that's how it starts, James. They open the door. Next thing you know, it'll be your bank account. Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, thank you for being here. He of the MacStock hat. Where can folks find you?
Yeah, so a couple of places. Here most Tuesday nights. We'll give a little love to Spoutable, as others have today. So Brian8944, I'm available on Spoutable. And then Mastodon is where I'm also most active. So Brian8944 at mastodon.cloud.
Great. Thank you, Brian. We'll see you shortly.
Looking forward to it.
Last but absolutely not least, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, thank you for being here. I will definitely see you in a few days.
Weeks?
A few weeks. It's weeks, days. It all runs together. Where can folks find you?
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you that are going to be at MacStock. So hopefully we'll be talking to everybody. But until then, yes, you can find me on In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. YouTube channel is youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm here on Tuesdays, the Mac Show on Fridays on British Tech Network. And then on Mastodon, I'm at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. Thanks to the chat room. They threw in a lot of good comments tonight. Really appreciated them being here. We had people dipping in and out. I'm not sure if we scared some people or whether they were just curious and just decided it wasn't for them. But we would love to have you there, whether you stick with us or not. And I do want to call out, and I started to do this earlier, Ditch Comfort. Ditch Comfort was here in the chat room from Europe, losing sleep. I think he faded early, so I think he may have fallen asleep. But it was always nice to see the European audience show up, even if it is late. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.